Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel where I talk about history, culture, and geography. Today I'm bringing you guys better quality videos, so if you like what you see here, please consider subscribing and leaving a like on this video. Let's jump right into the history of Japan. Today we are going to be covering the period up to the first Japanese shogunate, and in future videos we will cover the Sengoku Jidai, early modern, and World War II Japan. Humans have inhabited the many islands of Japan for at least 40,000 years. However, true society began when the Yayoi, who came from the Korean peninsula, journeyed to the islands of Japan around 300 BCE, although evidence suggests they might have arrived 500 years before that. Their culture quickly overtook the Jomon culture, a prehistoric hunter-gatherer culture that lived in Japan before the Yayoi. The Yayoi brought outside technology that vastly outpaced the hunter-gatherer society that previously inhabited the island. These new foreigners did not come by land bridge like the inhabitants at the time. They came on something new: boats. These new people came from the Asian mainland and brought Asian ideas and technology. One of these was farming, which caused an explosion in the Japanese population. It grew magnitudes more than the Jomon period, allowing for more complex societies. And by now, the population of Japan was around 2 million, with large farming societies in Honshu and Kyushu. With rice as the main crop, kingdoms formed around this agriculture. Around this time, Japan, the island, and its new people appear in Chinese texts. Referenced as Wo in these sources, this is the first outside reference of Japan. Near the end of the Yayoi period, when China was in civil war once more, a new text references the Yamatai kingdom, said to be ruled over by a female monarch named Himiko. The location of this civilization is still unknown to this day. By this time, we reach the Yamato period, which can be divided into the Kofun and subsequent Asuka periods. The transition to this period is marked by the point when Buddhism was introduced to Japan, which believed in an animist religion at the time. During this period, the first central government took over Japan, unifying the islands. The imperial house created a government based on China's. This period is marked by strong foreign culture on the nation, caused by the ruling family who enjoyed the culture of Korea and China. This want for cultural diffusion caused Japan to become more closely tied to Asia and invited the bonus of trade and commerce. This court, the Yamato court, saw the beginning of a militaristic daimyos known as okami. The later Yamato period, known as the Asuka periods, is defined by the artistic and political transformations caused by the new ideas brought over from East Asia, especially Korea. Artistic culture was also largely affected by Buddhism, which was introduced at the beginning of the Yamato period, but at this point was gaining traction with the populace. This Buddhist art and culture is known as Hakuho culture and became very important during this time. Furthermore, a coup against the powerful Soga family resulted in the Taika reforms in 645. This caused a government that was overall more Chinese and centralized. In 710, a new capital was built, symbolizing the beginning of the Nara period. This capital, Heian-kyo, modern-day Kyoto, became the center of politics and culture during this time period, and centuries afterwards. The city was modeled after the capital of the Tang at the time, Chang'an. This period also brought the idea that the Japanese royal family was descended from Shinto gods. A series of natural disasters happened early in the period, and Japan's population would not start to increase until the Heian period. The Heian period was a true successor to the Nara period. It is the end of the classical period in Japan, and it went out with a bang. Japanese court feuds and intrigue were still around, of course, but by the 800s AD, the court was filled with more art, literature, poetry, and culture. This radiated out from the capital and made Japan a vibrant center of culture and trade. Despite all of this, Japan's centralization around the emperor began to fall apart. War against the remaining Jomon, remember them, slowed after a lack of conscription. Furthermore, the Fujiwara family took control, and an early samurai came to replace such conscription. A military class was formed, and by the 10th century, the Minamoto family had wrested control of power from the fading Fujiwara's power. And the period ended in rebellion, and Minamoto became the shogun of the Kamakura shogunate, replacing the emperor's authority over Japan. The Kamakura was the beginning of the medieval and therefore feudal Japan. With it came a military government run by a shogun and military daimyo, causing decentralization in Japan. It was also during this time that the Mongols invaded, once in 1274 and a second time in 1284. Both times Kublai Khan was thwarted due to a typhoon. This was called kamikaze by the Japanese, as it was seen as a divine wind that protected them. Although the Japanese repelled the invading Mongols with a little divine help, it increased samurai's power who became dissatisfied with the Kamakura shogunate. This would result in the overthrow of the government and a brief restoration by Emperor Go-Daigo. The general sent to quell this rebellion, Ashikaga, soon switched sides and overthrew the sitting shogunate. However, the emperor's restoration was short-lived, as Ashikaga became discontent once more, and he overthrew the emperor and founded his own shogunate in Kyoto. This is the beginning of the Ashikaga shogunate, and soon the Sengoku Jidai period. However, we will save that for part 2. Subscribe for part 2, where I will discuss feudal Japan and some of the most memorable and famous Japanese figures such as Oda Nobunaga, Tokugawa Ieyasu, and the 100-year Sengoku Jidai.